Okay. Hi, everyone. I think we're live. I hope you can hear me. Um, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all of you. Um, and I would like to congratulate you for enrolling in Udacity's front-end web developer nano degree. I hope that over the coming months, we'll build a great relationship, a great team, our group specifically, and eventually we'll help each other and be productive and help you graduate. Um, Today, uh, we won't discuss any technical questions, nothing that's based on the content of the nano degree. We'll leave that for later. And if anyone has any questions, you can submit them in the uh, live chat here, and I'll answer them later in the video. Okay, so I've made a bit of a presentation to help you visualize what we're about to talk about and make it easier for you to understand. So yeah, this is the presentation. Uh, First off, let me introduce myself. As you can see, I am Veselin Tonev. I am from Bulgaria, a city called Plovdiv. Um, Actually, that's the oldest city in Europe and the seventh oldest city in the world. So that's a bit, it's a thing I'm proud of. Yeah, really. Also, this year, my city happens to be the European capital of culture. So um, if you have any intention of coming to the city, trust me, you're gonna find it really exciting and interesting for you. So other than that, I'm a nano degree graduate, web developer nano degree, the same one you're about to take. Uh, so I know the feeling you're having at the moment. You're probably a bit puzzled, at least I was when I was first taking the nano degree. Um, I have experienced all the frustrations and problems you're sadly about to face. I'm sorry to break it to you, but it's just inevitable. But that's all right because I'm here to help as long as you want me to, and of course the community of Udacity over at Slack is also there to help you progress through your nano degree and eventually graduate. Um, I want to tell you that all these frustrations and worries about graduating, if you combat them long enough, you will eventually graduate. And I gotta tell you, once you get the certificate of graduation from Udacity's nano degree, it's a really special, one of a kind feeling. Um, it just brought me endless joy. I almost screamed out when I graduated because it was such hard work um, over months, worries if I'll get there on time, not knowing what to do, all that stuff. But trust me, it's worth it. Currently, I have the honor to mentor students from the same nano degree and help them graduate. Uh, you just happen to be those students. So I hope that over the coming months, we'll get to know each other and I will help you with anything I can and listen to your questions, find a solution, motivate you. It's easy to get discouraged over such a long period of time, and the amount of projects you have to go through. I know it's a bit daunting, but if you just persist long enough, trust me, I'm saying this again, but I can't stress it enough. It's really worth it. So, um, this is the agenda for today's webinar. It's just an introductory webinar, so um, we'll go through the front-end web developer nano degree. This is just a general overview of the nano degree itself. We'll talk about its structure, what it consists of, and all that stuff. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is the services that Udacity um, has available to you at any time. Next, we'll talk about my role and how I will be helping you um, face the problems and help you get through them, I guess. Um, After that, I'm gonna have a little introduction to Slack because when I was first starting out, um, I found it a bit confusing because it's not like Facebook or Twitter, WhatsApp, and all these other social media apps. So I guess a quick introduction would benefit you in interacting with Udacity's choice of um, network to communicate with students. After that, there are some resources I would like to share with you to help you with the nano degree. And finally, I'll answer questions from students if there are any. So, um, with that out of the way, first, first off, we'll start with the nano degree itself, what we're all here for, right? um, the most importantly, the purpose of this nano degree is to equip you with the skills you need to start working as a front-end web developer. Um, Apart from other um, sites where they offer courses on front-end web development, Udacity has the sole purpose to make you job ready and to be in demand. This means that you'll strictly learn skills that you really need to work in the real world and not just overload you with pointless theory that just um, can't be applied in the real world. So that's a big plus because you won't waste any time learning something that you're not going to be using. Um, Apart from that, uh, you should know that uh, this nano degree has been developed by Udacity's experts along with Google staff. So Google being one of the industry giants, um, we all know what Google is and its reputation in the tech world. Um, all of the staff at Udacity and Google have come together to form a body of content which you'll most probably have a hard time um, not understanding because all of them have at one time of their careers been just like you. So they know what you're going through and how hard it is for you. So they have really put in the effort to uh, make it as much as possible, easy for you to understand and get going. So these are skills, like I said before, these are skills that you need to work in the real world. These are not just theoretical concepts or anything like that. Uh, the people at Google know a lot about what it takes to be a professional in this field. So it's up to you to go ahead and learn everything in the nano degree, which will make you job ready, and along with Udacity's other services, which we'll get into a bit later, um, will help you get a job. Like I have a friend which I took the nano degree with. He was my study buddy. We'll get into study buddies a bit later too. um, he went from not having a job at all and having dreams of being a developer to last week actually he was promoted from a junior web developer to a senior web developer based off of his experience with the nano degree. His employers were really impressed that he made it through all that content and the projects he built and decided that he should get promoted. So this is a real life example. I've seen it before my eyes that this nano degree really gets you job ready and has you in demand, as it says. Um, Next up, we're going to actually see what the nano degree is all about. Um, it has 5 large parts. Um, each part has its own projects. There are 8 projects in total, and each project requires you to know and apply the knowledge that you've learned previously in the theoretical concepts in the nano degree. Um, Finally, once your final project gets approved, you graduate and get the certificate. So, um, the structure of the nano degree. Oh, actually, let's talk a bit more about the projects and the parts of the nano degree. Um, the first part has 2 projects: the animal trading card project and the build a portfolio side project. These projects are just the introductory projects. Um, to submit a project, you should first really take a look at the project rubric that's going to be supplied in your once you get to the project. And before starting to actually do the project, please read through the rubric because that's what the project will be judged based on the content. So the Udacity reviewer to which you will submit the project will judge it and decide if it is sufficient or not based on the rubric. So if your project is amazing in, let's say, 3 out of 4 requirements and just falls short in the fourth requirement, you will most likely not pass and have to resubmit the project. So um, my advice to you is just focus on getting all the requirements in your project. And after that, if you feel like it, you can build on the project and make it stand out because that project will be submitted in your career portal, which is accessible via the briefcase icon in your dashboard at Udacity. and there the projects are stored for future employers to look at. So having your project stand out from the crowd, you will most likely get noticed by an employer, and you might actually end up getting the job just because you put that extra hour or two into the project. Um, Let me talk to you about my approach to building the projects. Like I said, first off, I started um, building the project straight away. Like I only looked at the instructions in the Udacity nano degree dashboard, and I straight away started to code up the project and have it looking and doing what the instructions said. But that really did not work because I ended up submitting my project multiple times because each and every time I was forgetting something on the rubric, and which was minor, but I had a really good project. So I was really frustrated why I'm not getting the acceptance by the reviewers and started to think that they hate me for some reason, which is not the case, of course. And after like my second resubmission, I decided that I should really check through the project rubric and um, focus on getting it done. So read through the project rubric. That's really important. A bit more about the projects. I mean, the first two are in the first part, the animal trading card. That's just the HTML and CSS card of a animal, which you're gonna have to build. You can choose anything, but my advice is whatever you do, um, keep it simple. I've seen my fellow colleagues really go overkill with the CSS effects and apply everything into the card, and it just ends up looking a bit like a fiasco more than a actually good card. So my advice is just keep it simple and restrict yourself to one or two interesting effects to make the card look good. And don't just go overkill with the effects. We'll save that for later. You'll need it. So next project in the first part is the build a portfolio site. This is Udacity supplies you with a PDF template, and all they ask is for you to translate that into an actual HTML page. And having gone through the content, I think this part is a bit easy, you know. Just check through the content beforehand and you'll be all right. Okay. In the second part is the memory game project. That one's a bit hard. Like it really took me a long time to get it done, and most probably you will too. So don't hesitate to uh, get me informed if you have any questions. And I'm sorry. Um, it really involves more on the JavaScript side. And if you're new to JavaScript, this might be a bit overwhelming. But don't worry, I know that you'll do fine. I'm always here to help you along with the Udacity community. Um, you also have a private channel specifically for this project. So if you ever feel the need to contact anyone and ask help from anyone, go to the private channels for the projects and ask around. The people here are really friendly, all of them, so they'll be glad to help. But yeah, memory games probably one of the toughest projects of them all, and it's only the third project, so don't get intimidated by it. Actually, the next few projects are not that difficult, at least for me. The third part is the classical arcade game clone. This is an exciting project because it wants us to recreate um, a game that I'm sure all of you have played before on the web when there was not really all that much games to go about, and it's like Super Mario, and it's exciting because you'll get to know what the people back then had to do to make such games. Um, you'll be supplied with all of the resources you need for that too. Um, Next up, in the third part, the second project is the feed reader testing. For those of you who are not familiar with testing, um, you'll get into that a bit later. This is a very important topic actually in front-end web development. It's often overlooked, but it's really important. Testing allows you to test your code before deploying it in the real world, and before having a user discover that something is really wrong. Testing enables you to prevent such kind of bad behavior of your code. Um, in the fourth part, there's a restaurant reviews app. Um, that's um, Actually, these are the parts, of course. That's the structure of the noun degree. The fourth part is the deals with the applications. In the fourth part, actually, you'll get to grips with most of the popular front-end frameworks. That's that includes Ember, Angular, and React. The restaurant reviews app will um, request that you translate a normal static web page to use a front-end framework, which will dramatically reduce the amount of code and show you the real power of front-end frameworks. Most front-end web developers nowadays um, use front-end frameworks and develop front-end applications. And without the knowledge of how to do that, it's really difficult to get any decent job in the world of front-end web development. And the fifth part, that's where it gets really intense. You'll be dealing with React. Um, that's actually a bit intimidating at first, but trust me, I was really scared. And this had me thinking that I'm not gonna graduate at all. But um, React is probably one of my favorite JavaScript frameworks, if not the favorite. And it's really popular, and I think based off of what I've read, that it's gonna be the future of front-end frameworks. I mean, Angular is also a really popular framework, but it was around before React was created, and just in the space of a few years, React really surpassed the Angular framework by popularity and usage, which is not very common in today's world. The projects you'll be building is first the MyReads project. This is a um, application that allows you to search for books, um, give them a rating, explore the details of each book while fetching them from an API, which is also something really difficult at first. but you'll get to love all these concepts. I'm really sure if you take the time to really look into it. So the next project and the final one is, of course, the most hard one. You'll have to build an application from scratch. What separates this project from all the others is that here you'll get absolutely nothing as a resource. I mean, you'll have to think of it by yourself, how you're gonna arrange things, which is scary at first, but using the knowledge you have from the previous projects, which you have been supplied with pretty much everything you need to do the projects, you will most probably, with the help of the Udacity community, your fellow students, and me, of course, you will do it. And once you complete the neighborhood math project, um, you actually graduate, and that's what we're all shooting for, right? So here's to hoping that all of you will get there and eventually we'll celebrate your graduation. And that's pretty much it for the overview. This is a little quote from one of my fellow students I took the nano degree with. She says that this program is worth it and was able to immediately apply lessons learned in the coursework into practice at where she is employed, actually. You can catch that article on Medium if you are interested in seeing her explanations and her journey with the nano degree. Which is this quote is another proof that um, Udacity's focus in the nano degree is to get you equipped with job-ready skills that you can immediately apply in work and not just theory. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the services Udacity provides to you. Um, and that's where it really kicks into gear because the services Udacity provides are not um, really included into any other service out there. Um, I will just explain a part of all of them, and over the coming weeks, of course, we'll get to know all of them. First off, yeah, Udacity offers you self-paced learning. You can learn as much and when you want and how much you want, but keep track of the deadlines to ensure graduation. Um, the deadlines for each project are soft deadlines. What that means is that you can complete a project or submit a project for completion before the deadline and have it approved so you can go on learning in the next topics. And in the case of some difficulties you might be having with a project submission, you can submit a project after the deadline. Um, but that's generally not a good idea because that way you're behind track, and if you have some unforeseen events, you know, if you get sick or have some kind of life event that prevents you from studying, you might miss out on graduation if you had um, kept to the deadlines. But um, my strategy for this was um, I tried to keep with the deadlines. I mean, I missed a few, of course, but I compensated by submitting other projects before the deadlines, and that mix of completing the projects on time and falling a bit behind ensured that I was able to graduate. So Self-paced learning is a real benefit, in my opinion, because you can do whatever you want, basically. After that, the next service is the mentor. I'll be helping graduate in any way I can. Of course, um, we'll get into what I am responsible for a bit later. After that are events. These occur in the Slack channels, and the people hosting them notify everyone about them in advance. So I suggest that um, you keep your eyes open and check regularly in Slack's public channels. They're the community managers, the ones, the Udacity staff that's responsible for um, the community, actually, the Udacity community in Slack. They host events like webinars like this or an Ask Me Anything session with some industry experts to get to know um, a bit more about the industry itself. So that's really helpful. You can ask questions like for free and have them answered. Really, the Udacity staff really makes sure that every single question is answered and everyone gets the attention they need. So do check those out. And my advice is that you take part in it because it really is not offered anywhere else. So the next service that's part of Udacity's suite is the career portal, and that's you can access that in your nano degree um, dashboard. In clicking the briefcase icon, there you will find uh, things like one-on-one sessions with career coaches. This is really very useful because you can discuss with them what you actually need to get get your career as a front-end web developer started. You can have your resume, cover letter also reviewed by an expert, and that's really helpful because the people here are really critical of your submissions. So unless your resume or cover letter is exceptional, they're not gonna let you know that it is so. And don't be afraid if they at first don't like your cover letter because they immediately provide um, information on what you need for it to really stand out and ensure that you'll get your chance to get an interview with the employer you are trying to convince that you're ready for a job. Also, there you can get your LinkedIn profile. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, I'd suggest that you immediately sign into LinkedIn because that's a really vast network where you can get employed and look around for jobs. Mm. You can also get your GitHub. Um, if you don't know what GitHub is, I'm sure that when you're taking another degree at one point, there's a Git course which you'll learn about all about GitHub. But in general, this is the place like it's a LinkedIn for developers, basically. That's where you publish all your projects. You collaborate with other developers. It's really fun and exciting too. So if you submit your profiles for review, that's going to ensure that potential employers will actually um, be amazed at your profiles and, of course, hire you for an interview. So I suggest that you set aside a bit of time um, during your nano degree to check the career portal out because it's a really valuable resource to use. Um, and you have to make sure that you complete everything in the career portal before your nano degree finishes, because after the period of your nano degree ends, you will not have access to the career portal. And if you want any of the services provided by it, you will have to pay for them. And it's not that cheap, if you ask me. So do take advantage of that. Um, now, we'll talk a bit about what a mentor is and what I'm here for, actually. Um, these are a bit of the things I can help you with. Um, the first, of course, and foremost, is to answer your questions. Any kind of questions about anything at any time. I generally um, consider myself a busy person. I have a lot of extracurricular activities, so to say, besides mentoring. But I really try to be here for all you guys and help you with in anything in any way I can. Um, if you ever feel discouraged or have any problems with anything in the nano degree, and not the nano degree too, I mean, you don't have to always talk about the nano degree, of course. This is not some kind of prison you're locked in. We can talk about leisure things too. What music you like, what movies do you watch? My favorite movie actually is La La Land, but that's a whole different topic. Let's get back to the agenda. So the other thing I can do is help you with your studies. Um, there's a lot of really hard to grasp things in the nano degree because the content is layered, and if you miss understanding something, that will probably lead to problems later on, because you'll need that knowledge to understand the new concepts which builds on top of that. And if you ever mm, have a problem understanding something, just reach out to me. I think I know a lot about the contents offered by the nano degree, and it's gonna be easy for you to reach out to me instead of figuring out on your own. So if you feel intimidated or frustrated at anything, just help yourself out and reach out to me. Um, the other thing I can help you with is provide personalized support over the coming days and weeks. Um, I hope you will allow me to get to know you a bit better, so I can take into account all your capabilities, where you're coming from, what your background is. I mean, do you understand the things? Have you done this before? What your goals are? That's going to be included in the personalized learning plan, which we'll talk about a bit later. The other thing we can do as mentors is provide technical help to you. If you have any technical difficulties like problems submitting a project, you think that a quiz um, doesn't offer you the right answers, the answer is different, you can reach out to me and I'll contact the people at Udacity to let them know. And what is the main thing I can do for you is to keep you motivated. You always need that little bit of a push to get you over the line when you're feeling a bit down. um, when you feel that it's a bit too much. I've needed it multiple times, to be honest. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It happens, so don't sweat it. You'll do fine. I'm sure of that. Um, these are actually my responsibilities, and four of them actually. The first one is to conduct weekly one-on-one calls with everyone. So that's um, a one-on-one call is refers to a call on Slack. Over a suitable for you time, we'll discuss your progress and update your personalized learning plan. That's what I previously mentioned, and let's actually explain what that is. The personalized learning plan takes into account um, all the info you have provided me with, your understanding of it, your progress in the noun degree. Um, the personalized learning plan takes that information and provides you with sort of a timetable, um, which you can follow to ensure that you graduate. So for every person over the one-on-one calls, the program will be different because no one is the same here. So after having the one-on-one call, there will be updates to your personalized learning plan. Um, how do the one-on-one calls actually happen? Well, I and all other mentors on Udacity use an app called Calendly. Calendly. Um, a link to that will be provided here in the presentation and on the Slack channel later. You can go to that link and there will be time slots, and you can choose whichever one is most suitable for you in the available spots, and I will immediately get a notification about that. And once the time comes, I will come to Slack and have the one-on-one call with you. It's nothing too formal. We'll just talk about the nano degree and whatever you want to talk about, of course. The next thing is the weekly webinars. I will be hosting one each week, explaining a relevant topic in the nano degree and making sure that you get it because it will most probably be featured in the project you will be doing. So the next thing is the weekly Ask Me Anything session. This is a 30-minute session on Slack. Um, you will basically have the opportunity to ask me anything. I'll try to answer, and nothing too complicated about this. And the next of mine is to provide you with useful resources. Um, these include motivational articles, um, freebies, icon sets, fonts, tutorials, anything I think is relevant and useful for you. And that's about it. These are my, um, this is where you can find me. Is the Slack username, my email if you need to contact me via email. And the third one, um, this one is my Calendly link. That's what I was talking about a bit earlier. If you click on this link, it will allow you to set up a 30-minute meeting with me, and I'll come to call you on Slack when the time comes. The last um, link here is our private Slack channel. This is where me and the rest of the group can interact with each other and share whatever information we want to. So don't hesitate and go there and meet your classmates. It's not about myself, this this channel. I'm here to provide you with help, not, of course, I'll interact with you too, but pop in and say hello to the others. Um, the next thing I want to discuss today is the Slack application. That's what uh, that's what Udacity chose to use as its platform for interaction eh, on the nanodegrees. This is a quote from Slack's homepage. I think it really describes best what Slack is, and namely, it's a project discussions, important documents, free announcements. They all live tightly together in Slack and with your team and information in one easily searchable place. Collaborating online is as easy as collaborating in person. Um, Essentially, what this says is that it's just like all other social applications, but this one is chosen by Udacity because it's easily searchable and very easy to use. Um, Next up is the features Slack offers. The first one is channels, and that's actually where we communicate, organize ourselves, make announcements, and our private Slack channel is where our team uh, interacts. That's FEND /session 799. Be sure to head to that to see what's happening. So the next feature is a search, and that makes it easy for you to find anything you need um, in the channels. You just click the search input field and write whatever you want to search the channel for, and it displays it immediately. And that's pretty useful if you're looking for a specific thing. Integrations, that's basically a feature that describes Slack's ability to integrate with um, external applications. It allows us to share links, to share documents, and all that. And finally, security. Slack uses um, really advanced uh, encrypting uh, techniques to ensure that only the people who need to see what you're sharing and talking about with your team see that, and no hackers can interfere and mess things up. So the main channels that's accessible for every nanodegree student and myself included are the following. This actually Slack's channels are divided into two groups. The first group is the public channels and the private channels. The difference between the two is that the private channels cannot be accessed by anyone else than the members inside it. So our own private channel, FEND/session/799, is only accessible to us and a learning technologist, which communicates with me for any technical information I need to give to you guys. Um, all of the other channels listed here, announcements, careers, introductions, find a study buddy, and motivation, are um, public channels, so they're accessible to each and every one of us. Um, let's have a look at them. The announcements public channel, that's where the community managers and learning technologists, career experts, and field experts in the fields of the nanodegrees share very important messages. Um, every time you see a new message there, you should probably read that because that's the main place where um, you'll find information about changes, about events, problems that anyone might be experiencing. Um, so do check that out every now and then to keep up to date. The careers channel, um, that's where human resource specialists help you with career-oriented questions. As I said, Udacity offers a really wide variety of career resources and career support. So there in the careers public channel, webinars are hosted, Ask Me Anything sessions are hosted too. So really do go over there and check what it's all about. It's very useful. The introductions private channel is where you can meet up with your fellow students, mentors, learning technologists, community managers, and generally that's where everyone introduces themselves and gets to know each other. Yeah. Um, the next one is Find a Study Buddy. Um, this channel is again for nanodegree students, which find learning in pairs more beneficial and are looking for a study buddy. So that a study buddy is somebody who's taking the same nano degree and wants to interact with another person like himself, and that makes learning a bit more easy and a bit more fun. Like I said, I had a study buddy when I was taking the nano degree, and the support and the knowledge that he gave to me was of real importance to me. And you also build a good relationship. So um, these are people who are looking for help just like you. So do consider having a study buddy. Check that out. Um, the next channel I want to speak about is the motivation. That's generally motivational posts, articles, personal stories, anything that aims to motivate you and get you inspired when you're feeling down. So if you feel stuck or short of confidence, just pop up over to the motivation channel and somebody might have a cool picture or a cool story to share with you. And the useful resources I talked about in the beginning, um, actually over the coming days, I will share with you links in Slack. This stream will be available for all of you to watch recorded on YouTube. This presentation that you've been looking at will also be available just in case you need it. Some useful links for the Slack app for getting up to speed with it, because, like I said, it might be a bit intimidating at first interacting with Slack. Um, it's a bit difficult to understand it all, but Slack has provided us with a lot of tutorials to get us to know how to do things in the app. Um, I will also provide articles for uh, front end web development, programming in general, and interesting topics as well that I think might help you get to know a bit more about the field and programming in general. And of course, I will provide resources mm, that help you with your nano degree specifically. And that's pretty much it for this. Um, Thank you for your attention, I guess. Any questions? Let me see. I don't think we have any questions, but that's okay. I mean, you can ask me anytime, any questions. That's it for the presentation. Um, and I want to say thank you for sitting through this webinar. I hope I have provided you with some useful information. Um, and generally, uh, I hope that over the coming weeks and months, we'll get to know each other a bit better, um, get to go through difficult stages in the nano degree, um, helping you in any way I can. Don't hesitate to ask any of the community managers questions. Head over to the careers channel, book a one-on-one with a career coach. That's very fun and very um, informational for you. Um, of course, try to stay on track in your nano degree to make sure that you will graduate. Um, what else? Mm, Head over to the career portal, sign into that, sign up. Um, if you don't, if your country is not listed in the career portal, do let me know because my country, when I was um, taking the nano degree, wasn't in the list. And after informing the community managers, only then was it added to the list. And if you have any difficulties with that, um, be sure to message me. Uh, Also, I really hope that over the coming months we will form a good team and eventually get to know one another a bit better. Um, it's important to keep in mind that we're all here for the same purpose. Um, we're here to help each other, to learn, and eventually get you to graduate. Of course, that's the main goal. Um, I don't want you to think of me as someone who's superior to you in any way possible. I'm just here to encourage you, to help you, to guide you. I'm just a person who uh, has taken the nano degree, has overcome the struggles you're currently experiencing, and knows a thing or two about motivation, I guess, or at least Udacity says so. I'd like to think I'm a good motivator, so I will do my best, really. I'll do my best um, helping you navigate through your nano degree. And I look forward to having the one-on-one calls with you. Don't don't forget to schedule your one-on-one meeting with me. And I guess that's all. Um, Thank you for sitting out this webinar again, and all the best from me. Have a good night, and I guess I'll see you over at Slack. Thanks again.